Hi, and welcome to the lesson. We're going to be reviewing iReady Grade 4 Reading Home Activity Packet, pages 42 through 46. On page 42, we have a story, a golden vase and two bright monkeys. I'm going to review, it's a little bit of a long story, so I'll have you read that on your own. But in this video, I'm going to review a few key points that you might want to keep in mind while you're going through the story. And then I'll ask you to do the questions on pages 45 and 46 on your own. And if you need help with those, I will be reviewing those in a separate video. So first of all, our story, A Golden Vase and Two Bright Monkeys, says it's adapted from a Tibetan folktale. Tibet is a country in Asia that is currently controlled by China. And a folktale, which you may or may not know, is a story that's passed down in a culture. It's usually a spoken story that's passed down from person to person and told over and over again. And then, once writing became more common, then a lot of those stories were written down. So our story begins a long time ago in Tibet. Two friends named Dorje and Sonam. Now, the names, I'm not quite sure how those are pronounced. Dorje and Sonam are how I might pronounce them. You might pronounce it differently, and it's really not important that you get hung up on how to pronounce them. These are names from another culture, so we may be saying them incorrectly. The key thing is to be able to distinguish these two characters in the story and recognize the names when you come across them. And so to be able to tell which character is which throughout the story. So don't worry too much about pronouncing the names correctly. Just find a pronunciation that works for you and try and stick with that. Now we have several words that we're looking for throughout the story to try and determine the meaning. Genuine, recent, and pardon. It might be a good idea at the very beginning to go ahead and find those words. The first one is here in paragraph 3. They're looking for whether or not the vase is genuine. And the other two are actually towards the end. And the word recent is in paragraph 19. And finally, the word pardon is in paragraph 20. So it's helpful to have those highlighted so that you can pay attention to them when you come across them. And the final thing I wanted to point out is we have a reference to, in paragraph 2, Sonam jokes about, we must have the touch of Midas. Midas was a king in Greek mythology, and the story of Midas was that Midas was granted a gift, a power that anything he touched turned into gold. So when you talk about the touch of Midas, it means having things turn into gold. In this case, Sonam is joking about that maybe happening. Is not saying that they turned the vase into gold, but that they've found something that they were looking for roots, and they turned up something that appears to be gold instead. So that's what he's referring to when he talks about the touch of Midas. So that's another example where mythology is used in literature, and it helps us understand the story. Understanding the mythology helps us understand the stories a little bit better. So go ahead and read that on your own. And pages 45 and 46 are the questions that follow up. After you've read it, try those questions as best you can. I will review them in another video. And until then, if you have any other questions, you can feel free to reach out to me or to your homeroom teacher. And I appreciate you coming to the lesson.